All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a late night insomnia edition of the Jets Afterburners podcast. I am your host, Liam, joined by Dan, and we have a very special guest, Jeremy Jets Chaos. I almost said from Jets Chaos. Jeremy, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to be here.
Love having you here, man. Dan, looks like you got some new stuff in the back. I see the new O'Brien jersey back there.
I
How's
got my
everything
own.
been, man?
Good. So far, so good. We had a great show yesterday. We had a draft guru come on all the way from Texas. It
Whoa.
was good, and we're getting really close to the drafts. So I'm like, you know what, we gotta do some shows, man. What better than Jeremy from Jets Chaos, where it's always chaotic. You do so much, man, for your channel. Like you do the Jets, and then I was doing my due diligence. You start doing your own like kind of like chow down reviews, which is awesome. Do you still do that or what?
Yeah, me and my brothers do the Brooklyn Brothers food review.
Okay.
So that's me and both my brothers. Me and my brother down here in North Carolina just filmed and recorded a review of a pizza place in Durham.
Oh, all right. Scale from 1 to 10. You're doing the bar stool type of thing. Everybody knows the rules kind of thing.
It's very similar to that. Like we definitely use that scoring system and everything. So
So
it's just a little different because we don't just do pizza. We do any kind of food.
can I give my prediction of what you gave that pizza review? I'm gonna
Yeah.
go. I'm gonna go 6, 7.
You're not far off. It was a little. That's a little low. People don't know this, but I don't know why I can't explain it. But in North Carolina, they have, especially in the Raleigh Durham area, there's a lot of New Yorkers,
Okay.
and they have all the distributors down here, and they do a really good job. It's like they have very like not great, but like standard like borough pizza, like that you find in the Bronx,
What?
Queens, Brooklyn. Yeah, they actually have decent pizza. It's shocking, but it's not as common. Like one out of every five or six places. But that leads up to like a handful of places down here you can go to and get good pizza.
Very cool. Excellent.
Yeah, that is really cool. And what else is cool is like Dan had said, the draft is this week. There is a million of different reports coming out, and I actually put a poll up on Twitter today. I want to read it off. Just asking because it seems like Jets Twitter and all, not even just Jets Twitter fan bases, multiple fan bases, not just the Jets, but it seems like every fan of the NFL is very divided right now. And then specifically
Divided.
with the new, yes, specifically with the Jets, it's Bowers, it's offensive line,
Mhm.
it's trade back, it's wide receiver. So I feel like the most common three is Bowers, offensive line, and wide receiver.
Mhm.
And then I threw in an other category saying, what should the Jets do at 10? And right now, Brock Bowers at 10 is leading the poll with 46%, offensive lineman at 20, and then wide receiver at 31, and then other for 3. So, Jeremy, I just wanted to get your take on all of this. What do you think the Jets should do at 10? It seems to be the $1 million question right now.
Yeah, it's so funny because I flip flop, from one thing to another. It's I have nothing against any of those options. I kind of feel like the needs that we have right now are very even. Like I don't see one being that much. Like I feel like we need a weapon because Lazard right now. I mean, you can't rely on him. So I mean, we definitely need another weapon in there aside from Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
And I don't, and so if it's Rome Dunze or Brock Bowers, I'm not hung up on position. I don't care about that. If Bowers lives up to his potential and he's what he appears to be, from what I've seen, that's fine. It makes no difference to me. You see, Kansas City is a perfect example of it doesn't matter what the position is. The guy is, if you have an amazing tight end that acts as a crazy weapon, and this guy is anything like a Kelsey, why do we care if it's a tight end or a receiver? Um, but at the same time, I know that we don't keep offensive linemen healthy, and
Right.
we haven't been able to. And we've actually, in the last 10 years, averaged 8 offensive linemen a year. If you go back the whole 10 years, the last 2 years have been much worse than that.
Yeah.
And what good are weapons if you can't, I mean, you see how bad an offense could be when you have a broken down offensive line. So I don't swing too heavily in any of the in any opinion, except I just hope that whoever we pick it works. And I don't care about the position. I just want the player that we pick to hit. and be a star. As long as that happens, we're a better football team. And the other sneaky little thing I have, that fourth other for me, is I really would not mind getting a second round pick if we traded back, like with the Colts or something.
Right.
I could take the balance, like a little bit less of a first round pick, but then you gain a whole second round pick.
I feel like we can get Bowers if we do trade back. Because with me, Bowers is it's a whole dichotomy there. Like the ceiling for me with Bowers is a Gronk. So a matchup nightmare, can do everything, can take over a drive. I'm not saying a game, a drive, like when you need it the most. But then the floor for me is Keith Jackson, which is, again, great tight end, but he is not a 10th overall draft pick. He's not.
Not at all.
And I think if Bowers falls between those two, we'll be good, but I would be very kind of underwhelmed because I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm expecting this guy to be the weapon that we expect him at 10. I feel like the perfect trade partner with the Jets are the Raiders. The Raiders need a quarterback. And if anyone thinks that the quarterback that they had last year, that rookie, which I can't even remember the name.
Aiden O'Connell.
Exactly. That Aiden O'Connell. Who?
Well, they had Gardner Minshew.
Nah, but there's no franchise quarterback. To me, the sleeper of this draft right now with 3 teams that are really high on the player that I'm about to say, and I'm talking about the Vikings, the Broncos, and the Raiders, it's Michael Penix. A lot of people are like, oh, no, just wait until the second round. Yeah, you just wait. You just wait until the second round. He ain't going to be there. So if the Jets trade back to 13, they can still get Bowers, and alluding to what you had said, we get a second rounder. And at that point, you got a second rounder, you can get like maybe a second tier offensive tackle, or you get a offensive tackle at 13 and get, let's say, Xavier Leggett from South Carolina at 2. Oh my goodness, dude, it's a home run. Just those 2 picks alone. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and it really is like the big argument. And so, Bowers being who he is and everything, and as highly touted as we think he can be. And then you have, you got to protect Aaron Rodgers, so you need the offensive lineman. And then, as Jets Chaos has said, Jets offensive linemen seem to drop like flies for some reason. But then you're also kind of one Garrett Wilson injury away from being really concerned with weapons, which Aaron Rodgers has publicly said he wants, going back years now, going back to not even just his last year in Green Bay, years before that too. So it's really, it seems like as long as they stay away from a quarterback in the first round and they don't draft a defensive player in the first round, there's really no lose-lose situation for the Jets. And I think that Joe Douglas put himself in a really good position to be really flexible going into the draft. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on what Joe Douglas has done in free agency? And do you think he's done?
I don't think he's done. I wouldn't expect a giant splash. Depending on how you feel about offensive tackle who's only played in like 3 games in the last 3 years. If that's a big splash because he does play at an all-pro level, I guess that's still possible if no other team is willing to pay him more or guarantee him a starting job. But for the most part, I think it would be just strategic pieces. I'm very happy obviously with what he's done since the end of the season. This free agency period was maybe his most brilliant of his tenure here. I just great value, very little cost up front. As of right now, we haven't had to do all the restructuring that we thought we had to do, and we might still do it. And if we don't, then we avoid, a lot of pain down the road, maybe. So just the way he's been able to fill those spots, the speed in which he filled the offensive line with those 3 guys, it's extraordinary. And it's like, it makes you shrug your shoulders and say, how did he do it? Because it's not like we're the only team that's in need of offensive line.
Right. I mean, I don't want to be a negative Nancy here, but Mike Williams, Tyron Smith, great on paper, great in Madden, phenomenal. But they get injured, so we don't want to go into the 24 all-in season with liabilities. So that's why, to me, at 10, or even if we drop back, as much as I want a weapon, damn, man, when are we going to learn? Like last year, when that happened, game 1, didn't just race through your head. Every Jet fan, damn, man, wish Joe Douglas would have invested a little bit more in the offensive line, healthy people, maybe depth, something like that. To me, it's you got to go with Fashanu at 10 if he's there, or any of the other ones, because to me, it's you got to go with depth. You got to sign Bakhtiari if he does pass his physical, but you also, to me, someone that's running under the radar is Connor McGovern. I would get him. At least you put him at guard and you push out, again, I don't want to say it, but AVT, God forbid something happens. You know, it's a makeshift offensive line, and it's a hair from being a makeshift, offensive line. So maybe we get out of this draft with 2 offensive linemen. And I don't want to diminish Carter Warren either. And, to me, that's huge, man. This is an all-in year where we're going to be facing some top-tier defenses, and we got to protect our prized possession. Holy smokes. I mean, just think of it. Let's say if Aaron Rodgers goes down for maybe 2 games. I'm okay with that. I'm all right. 2 games, that's fine. But if it's longer than that and you have a depleted offensive line, that does not make me feel comfortable. Let's go back. Let's go back to the 2002 season, where we had Mawai, Fabini, Randy Thomas, all those studs. They were healthy throughout the entire season. 98, look at who we had there. They were anchors, and seldom were they ever injured. That's what we want here. But last year, it proved that as much as Joe Douglas wants to improve the offensive line, he's getting these players that are injured prone, man. I mean, I get it. I was happy getting Tyron Smith, but let's not forget, he's 1 tweak away. And then Morgan Moses, sorry to be negative here. I'm sorry, but we have to face the reality. Am I throwing something out there, or is it like, here's this same old Jets, which I'm not. I'm not a same old Jet type of guy. I'm always very positive, always. But I'm looking at the clear picture. This Thursday will be indicative of how we progress forward, protecting our prized possession.
No, I think after the last 2 years, I think after being a Jet fan for any amount of time, we're just knowing and understanding football and the importance of an offensive line, and then looking at the history of Smith and the age of Morgan Moses, I just don't see anything wrong. I mean, it's not even negativity. It's like being practical, right? It's being like honest with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to be realistic and honest with ourselves that he's just, we need to know that there's depth in that position. Otherwise, we could lose the season and lose another year of this window, just like that with a snap of a finger. So I know that they may love Carter Warren, but I know that none of us trust him enough. The ceiling is there that he could come in and be that guy, and be very serviceable now that he's at a full season and he's going to have a real training camp. But to rely on that when we're all in for a Super Bowl, it doesn't sit well with me. So I would love for them to sign a Dave Bakhtiari, because to me, then you go with him and Smith together and say, can we get 17 games out of those 2 tackles?
Right.
And not only that, I don't know if this was said while I did my little Irish goodbye there a minute ago, but
where'd you go, man?
I don't know. The Wi-Fi said no thanks. So
it's like that song, Houdini.
That's me. And now I'm back. But I don't know if this was said either, but like, hey, maybe we do it right this time. And the big issue is you could either get like a wide receiver or like somebody like a Bowers, and they're a day 1 contributor, or you could get an offensive lineman where maybe we could sit and develop a few more weeks until, God forbid, we know the injury's coming. We don't know which one's going to go down first, but you could bank on Tyron Smith going down. I hate to say it, but you could probably bank on maybe AVT going down again too. I mean, he has youth on his side, and they were 2 freak injuries, but really any of the 5. It doesn't, I don't have to sit there and name specifics, but maybe we could sit there, do it right. And who better to learn than guys like Morgan Moses, one of the greatest of all time in Tyron Smith. So in my opinion, it's me. I want a fatty up front. I think it has to be offensive line. But then like I said, the other argument is, you're one Garrett Wilson injury away from being depleted at the wide receiver position. Hopefully Mike Williams comes on and doesn't really miss a step, but it's concerning, man. And then you got to think also about the undrafted free agents. It seems like Joe Douglas likes to get a couple of those wide receivers. Gibson last year, Jason Brownlee, those kind of guys. But I don't trust those guys, going into like a big game situation. I wouldn't want to go to Arrowhead in the playoffs with, Jason Brownlee as one of my starting wide receivers.
No.
Looking at
Well,
Jeremy, do you know about Knoble from college?
I'm telling you, this guy would be. It's a legendary thing, and to think that we can get two positions, where it's like two birds with one stone. He plays
Yeah.
both ways.
Yeah, he could easily be like our Keyshawn Johnson, and then he could be our Darrelle Revis at the same time. It's crazy.
he
Right.
also can coach.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like he can run up and down the stairs with Salah.
Faster than Salah.
Very fast, very
Yeah.
quick. And I heard he also will run at Belmont. Like that's how amazing he is.
Yes,
Saddle
I mean,
up.
yeah.
could
When you get a human that runs a 3.72,
Right.
Yeah.
On his
47-inch
knees.
vertical.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Out
And
of
then
this
he
world.
can make better coffee for Rodgers than Nathaniel Hackett can too.
I would.
That's the biggest thing.
He can call a better game. But
Yeah.
now,
He knew how to use Brees Hall in week 7 instead of week 8.
exactly, 100%. Now, you know what? I want to talk about the trade up possibility. And to me, there are only two guys. And I know Odunze came up into the mix. We trade up for him. I would not. I'm sorry. I would not trade up for Odunze. There's just two players that I would trade up for: Marvin Harrison Jr. and Joe Alt. Now, a lot of people are saying, yeah, but Alt isn't going to leave. He's not going to kind of pass through Tennessee. There are rumblings that the Titans are very high on Bowers. So if we do that swap 10-7, which I don't think that we would even remotely give up next year's first.
no,
I think no way. Probably both fourths in next year's second, something like that. I get it. But if you could get Joe Alt or Marvin Harrison, it's a home run. It is ridiculous. The improvement that you've made on the offensive line and wide receiver. You got the best wide receiver in this draft class. And that to me goes head and shoulders above anything else. Like you want to improve this win now team. And again, Jeremy, like you had said, this is a win. This is a window. And to me, the window is this year, because next year, since Aaron Rodgers is an anomaly, we have no idea what's going to go through his head after the season. He could walk up and leave. I'm done. He's so invested in this season that this is it. You take out everything and you just drop it on the table and you say, you know what? We're going all in right here. What do you think about probably trading up?
well, if it was for Marvin Harrison,
Mhm.
I'm perfectly fine giving up next year's number one without question.
Holy
Without
smokes.
Wow. I'm a big
Okay.
believer in this kid. To me, I see Calvin Johnson. I see Megatron when I look at this kid. I see something very. I see a ceiling that is beyond anything. Like we're talking Hall of Fame.
Wow.
That's
is
what I
bad.
see. That's what when I watch his film. When I look at the attribute, like this guy has it all. He has the speed and the route running of a Garrett Wilson, but the size of a Calvin Johnson. It's sick.
Wow.
It's sick.
I got to put my jet hat for that.
There is
Wow.
no
Giving up next year's first. Oh, all
there
right.
is
Here,
no question.
here comes the Jet fandom.
I think that Marvin Harrison is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL right now. Right now.
Wow.
So yes, I give up a number one for next year for this kid. You take him and Garrett Wilson, you got the best duo in the NFL.
Even though that this draft is that deep in wide receiver, you give up next year's first. Like I would, again, based off of Aaron Rodgers coming back from Achilles, God forbid this season goes to crap. At least you have maybe a top 5 pick next year, maybe. Because obviously, if this doesn't work out this year, Jeremy, we're blowing the whole thing up. There is no way that Robert Saleh would come back next year. No way. Because last year, how the season went, I was one of them. I raised my hand. Clean house. Because how everybody just gave up. Saleh, you just saw his demeanor. Everyone's like, all right, you know what? They caved in. Hackett, who's a hack without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's a nobody.
As Jets historians, we knew about his dad. Man, we hated Paul Hackett.
Yeah.
Who bailed him out? It was Chad Pennington.
My argument there is, why was it allowed? If Woody Johnson and Joe Douglas said, no, you're not throwing the season, you better go win, and they didn't, then yeah, you should have fired him. But like in my opinion, I mean I can't say this for sure, But to me, it seemed like everybody, once Rodgers went down, everyone said, well, there goes our season. It's like they didn't even try.
Yep.
And they squeaked out 7 games, and some of them were really ugly. But then, like, there was so many winnable games. Like, I think back to that Falcons game. They lost 13-8. 13-8. So it's like
Unacceptable.
and that was a worse team. So with a bet, like, there's no reason that, like, this can't be a 10, 11, 12 win, dare I say 13 win team. And that's not even green goggles on.
Right.
It just seems like health is 100% going to be the biggest thing. And even if Rodgers, for whatever reason, goes down, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I feel confident with Tyrod Taylor at least back there for, just to get you by. And then there's the situation of, well, we don't have a third. Well, right now we have a third string quarterback, but we don't have a third string quarterback. So Jeremy, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what's going to happen with Zach Wilson? Do you think that there is any trade value, or do you think that Woody Johnson's going to have to go back on his word and release him after publicly saying that he would not release him?
Yeah,
And then what do they do for a third string quarterback? Is it draft? Is it free agency? I know I asked you a lot right there. So
I don't. If I was another NFL team, there would be no value in Zach Wilson to me.
None.
So it's amazing to me that anybody think there would be. And Woody Johnson, it was a little too late. It was too little, too late. He already let and put every other team on alert that he has no value for Zach Wilson when he said we didn't have a backup quarterback, and he said
What a
that
dummy.
What a dummy, right?
What a dummy. Man.
So he's trying to save face. Maybe they get someone to give a 7th round pick. I don't know, but why would they even want to pay Zach Wilson $5 million? It's a joke. It makes no sense to me why somebody would do that, because you have to pick up $5 million of the $10 million. It makes no sense, like, to me, why another team would want him. And if we hold on to him, if we keep him on the 53, that's moronic.
No, there's no way. There's no way that would ever be a scenario. Especially, number one, Zach isn't even showing up to these. It's not even mandatory.
Voluntary, yeah.
It's voluntary, and everyone's showing up. Everyone.
You don't see a situation where they're like, all right, he had a year to learn with Rodgers. He is a third string quarterback. He knows the system. You don't see them justifying that, because they publicly said that they're not going to release him. I know that what they say in the public doesn't mean anything, but I could see, and I'm not saying I agree with it, but I could see them arguing, yeah, he knows the playbook. He's going to be the third string quarterback. This is going to, but then again, Joe Douglas said he's open to trading him. So the Jets are saying, we don't want him. We don't want you. Does anybody else want you? No, it doesn't seem like it. So maybe they will keep him. I don't know. This is one of the strangest situations I've ever seen them. One of the strangest ways I've ever seen them handle a quarterback, because we all knew that Sam was probably going to get traded, but it wasn't so public. Like, there's no hiding this, that they don't want the kid there, but he's still, like, I don't blame him. I wouldn't show up either. I wouldn't show up. Like, he probably doesn't even have a locker at this point. He's got to, like, throw his stuff in, like, with Tyrod Taylor or something. It's just, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't see it.
It's one of the craziest ways I've ever seen them handle this situation. But I don't know what he doesn't have any trade value.
The only trade value
to give us 7.
The only trade value he has is if we trade him to, like, a Walmart for, like, a couple security guards. That's it. That's it. There's nothing. Again, like Jeremy said, the moment Woody opened his mouth, he killed all the trade value.
Yep.
He shot Joe Douglas right in the calf, right in the Achilles, right there. Because keep in mind what Joe Douglas got for Blake Cashman, a guy that would wake up injured. He would just wake up, blink his eyes, he's on IR.
Yep.
And he got a 5th. I think, had Woody Johnson not said anything, nothing, I think Zach would have been already traded. But when you go publicly and you say, we didn't have a backup quarterback. Sure, we would like to have him back. What are you doing? And then this past week, Joe Douglas is like, we're trying to trade him. So it's going up and down. Like, dude, enough is enough, man. He's not going to be part of this team. To me, the biggest thing is, one of our 4th rounders, we got to get a quarterback. To me, the guy that I like the most, and I said it a bunch of times, Spencer Rattler, and the other guy that's really coming on is Jordan Travis from Florida State.
I like. Yep.
That guy, had he not been injured, he would have been, I think, probably a top 4 quarterback. We'd be talking about him as being selected, at the top of the 1st round.
I definitely believe Jordan Travis has some serious skill. Just watching him, he can make all the throws. I love a story like that, right? When you get a guy in a fourth round, it's like, well, why was he available in the fourth round? There's nothing better than he was injured, but he
Right.
would have been,
Yep.
And I think
Yep.
some people would say second round pick. Some people are arguing first round.
Oh yeah.
The way guys work up the boards, he would have, like you're saying, ended up a top 10. I mean, I don't know about this year because it's a crazy kind of year with how many guys there are, but on an average year, like last year's draft or next year, 25's draft, if he never got hurt, he certainly believably could have been a top 10 pick. There's no question about it. I've seen worse players or guys that with less evidence and less talent get into the top 10 somehow. So
Now,
I'll
Jeremy,
ask you this, Jeremy. How deep into the draft would you be willing to draft a quarterback? Because as of right now, like let's say the Jets just stay at 10, they don't have the second round pick. So you're not drafting again until the third round. Are you taking the third round and only having one starting weapon, potentially offensive lineman sitting? So I guess what I'm trying to ask you, are you drafting towards the future, or is that third round draft pick still all in 2024?
no, that third round is all in because there's we're very fortunate in this draft
Mhm.
in that there are some positions that we have that we can use that this draft is very deep in, where 72 actually gets you a potential plug and play starter or a future much better than average starter. Like whether it's safety, defensive tackle, running back, there's a few positions where we can actually get some real value there.
now, Jeremy, would you be okay if we bring on a couple of guests just to ask some questions, and then we'll go to the next guest?
Sure. I'm okay
All
with
right.
anything you guys want to do.
Let's do it. All right. Charles, welcome to the show, brother.
What's up,
Hey,
Charles?
Jeremy, how are you?
I'm
What's
good,
up?
brother. How are you?
Hey, Dan. Hey, Liam, how are you?
What's up, Charles?
Yeah, I kind of meant what I said in regards that I do feel bad for Zach Wilson to some extent. Now, before everyone tries to kill me, let me hear me out for a moment. I do think Zach Wilson, yeah, he hasn't played well, but at the same time, our head coach is incompetent. Obviously losing Greg Napper, but funny in his rookie season we had down the stretch of his rookie season we had John Beck, his personal quarterback coach, on the team, and Zach Wilson under his tutelage played well.
Great point.
And for some stupid reason, look, I know people are going to be pissed at me for saying this, but just hear me out for 1 second. Yes, he's very immature. Yes, he didn't play very well for us. I'm not saying he was great. Please get the hook. Yeah, gee, thanks, NYJTV.
Well,
I do feel bad for us.
well, you know what, Charles, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to take your side, and I'm going to tell you why. When you have someone like Zach Wilson, who we all knew was raw, and this media, this New York state of mind is throw out the rookie quarterback, and we did it, and we continue to do it. We don't learn. Mark Sanchez,
Yep.
And then
Sam
Darnold,
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith. You're right. And then this
Knoble.
kid, Knoble. No, you know what? Knoble, that he would sit on the.
Oh,
he
God,
he
again
would
with
sit
the
on the
Kenobi
blind.
stuff. Come on.
No, but
now.
let's
Sorry,
get back
Charles.
to Zach. Let's get back to Zach just for a second, because obviously we have to put this to bed. What they did to Zach, the San Francisco 49ers would have never done that. They know how to groom a quarterback. Sit on the bench. Greg Knapp, man. Such an unfortunate, position to be in. God rest his soul. You're gonna sit down. Look at Andy Reid. Dude, he drafted Pat Mahomes, traded up, and he had him sit behind Alex Smith. We're not saying 2 years, 3 years. It was 1 year, man. Just 1 year. Let him sit. Let him learn. The game is way different
Than the college level.
Forget about the college level. BYU in general. BYU. Think of it. All the greats that came from there. Jim McMahon, Steve Young, the great Ty Detmer. They were never thrown out into the fire. They learned. And obviously Steve Young with Tampa Bay, then Bill Walsh knew what he had in Steve Young. Guess what Bill Walsh did? You
He
think
let him sit behind Joe Montana.
That's what I'm saying. So I completely understand what you're saying, Charles. And I do
But the
appreciate
last
this.
quarterback we did right though was Chad Pennington.
Pennington.
Remember, we drafted him
Yep.
in the first round of the 2000 draft. He
Mhm.
sat behind 2 years behind a solid veteran, Vinny Testaverde, and when his time came, he succeeded.
Yep, 100%.
Now I know everyone's pissed at me, but
No,
I'm not
meant
pissed
it
at you,
from-
Charles.
No way.
Not supposed to hear.
No
look
way.
on the comments. I know people are like, "Get the hook, man! Get this guy out of here."
Don't worry. I completely understand. I think the majority of Jet fans agree with you, Charles. They
Yeah.
do, because
Yep.
this is not right. A top 2, second overall pick, that he wasn't like a Trevor Lawrence. He wasn't like that. Let him sit. That was the right thing to do. Sam Darnold, maybe the same thing, but he kind of came from USC. He had big games and whatnot. Zach didn't. He didn't have that. So I completely get you. And listen, Charles, thank you so much, man, for coming on. And we'll definitely be in touch, man. All right.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
But you know the other thing with Zach too, and it's funny because you knew that I remember when he got injured, and that's the funny thing too. When he got injured during that Miami game, do you guys
Yeah.
remember the way that they handled that? First they said it was a head injury, then they said
Right.
he was in concussion protocol, then they said it was a neck injury. This was all in the same game, and then they said he was dehydrated.
Yeah, it was a wrap.
They didn't even have their story straight. And
No.
I remember I was sitting right next to my dad on the couch. I said, I guarantee you we don't see Zach for the rest of the year.
At all.
And if he was just dehydrated, why wasn't he back next week?
Jeremy, I'm going to give you the honors. Can you smash the last nail in the coffin? Because I'm so done talking about Zach Wilson. Can you just slam it down? Go for it.
He's either released, traded because JD called in a favor. The point is, come training camp in June, there will be no Zach Wilson on this roster, so it doesn't matter.
From
And
your
with
lips
that-
to God ears.
And with that, we bring on
Canarsie.
What's up, Canarsie boy?
Brooklyn, baby. How you guys know each other from Brooklyn?
No, he told me he was from Canarsie, so I just
Oh, now we're talking, man. Right off the belt,
I know
man.
Brooklyn well. So
Exit 13, Rockaway Parkway.
there we go.
Hmm.
How are you, Jeremy? Fix that
I'm
door.
good. I'm good. The door is fixed. I
There
promise.
you go.
So what do you
Excited?
got?
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm doing it. My Rangers won.
Our Rangers, yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, I just finished watching a very defensive game between Colorado and Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
7-6.
I really want to like throw it in Elmo's face. I don't even think Elmo comes around anymore, but
Where's Elmo? Yeah.
I don't know. I meant to hit him up.
Thanks,
Kenny
Armo.
O'Brien.
Yeah, man.
Ken O'Brien.
Got his autograph last year, man. That was fun, man.
Was that
You
at
know,
Hofstra you got that done?
that was there, man. I mean,
Wasn't that
Jer-
the show?
that was the show. Yeah,
Yeah.
we went just for the for everyone tuning in. Last year we had an amazing show out at Hofstra. There was so many Jet players, ex-Jet players. We got to sit with them, talk to them. Richard Todd, Mark Gastineau, Marty Lyons. Shoot, even Adam Sandler came aboard.
Harper.
Quickly. Yeah.
Harper, oh my God, Connie Harburg was there. That she came online.
Gastineau for second. Mawai.
Yep. Yeah. Kevin Mawai. Yep.
Mawai.
He was
That was a
sick,
great
man.
time. That was a
Did
great
Richard
time. I hope
Todd
they do it
stop?
again.
Richard Todd there for a minute too?
Yeah, he was there for a while. We were
Yeah.
talking for a long time.
Yeah. They were
Good.
very good.
But what talking about?
Michael tried to say hi, but he was walking.
Yeah, that was right before he got inducted into the Hall
Yeah.
of Fame. But Jeremy, like if we ever have one of those big events, man, you're down to come through?
If I can get there, I mean, it's a long way to fly, but
I
pick
got
you
your
up.
ticket, man. I got your ticket.
but I always try to go to things like I'm going to the NFL draft party in Long Island on Thursday. So there you go.
Oh, you gonna be at the main event in Farmingdale?
Yeah, I'll be at the main event. So, I flew in for the opener against Baltimore last year. I flew in for the Chargers.
That's where I met
games.
you. That's where I
Yeah.
met you. Yep.
Yeah. So I try to, but it's whatever. If I can get the flight, I do it. I go.
Jeremy, were you at week 1 this year?
Week 1 this year?
September 11th, Rogers debut.
No. I
I
wasn't
guess
there for
last
that.
year.
Thank God.
I was
What
there.
a nightmare.
I don't think I'm going to the home opener next year.
He
The only
jinxed
way.
it.
The
He
only
jinxed
way
it.
I. Yes. The only
No,
way
it
that
was
I.
this guy. It was that guy that jinxed it. This
Yeah,
guy.
I was gonna say it
It
wasn't
was
me.
Vinny, man.
Yeah. All
Not
of a sudden,
Vinny, who's in
Testaverde wants to
backstage.
come back.
It was
Oh
about
yeah, let's
now.
bring in Vinny.
But no,
Testaverde.
this guy jinxed it. That guy. Who I
That's
love.
never going wrong. The only way that I'm going to the
He's
home
getting
opener
upset.
this
He's
year
getting upset
is
right
if
there.
they play Buffalo in Buffalo, because my girlfriend's a diehard Bills fan, so we're gonna be going there. But
I love
other
Canada.
than that, I will be.
Such a good boyfriend, I tell you.
You are.
I
There's
try.
Vinny.
There he is, Mr. C.
And Vinny was shaking his head. He does not like any anti-tester Verdi talk. Any anti.
Please
doesn't
don't
like
talk
Charles
shit.
either.
Don't talk shit about my boy there.
No.
You know,
Vinny?
1998 was my favorite season as a Jets fan.
All of us, man. Dude, this is my favorite
great
freaking
season.
jersey. Dude, I just got this.
This
So
is like a big
82
reunion.
was my
As soon as
favorite
I saw
season.
Jeremy was on, I had to jump on, even if it was for a couple of minutes. How's everybody doing?
What's going on, man?
Oh man, same old same. Are we on the Brock Bowers train now, or what?
Are you a Bowers boy?
100%. 100%. And the reason I'm on the Brock Bowers train is you have to score points in this league. That's what it comes down to. I'm not sold on Alan Lazard as being a true weapon. And furthermore, it's like I think Dan said it at the start of your show. It's nice to take an offensive lineman. It is for depth reasons. But the reality is, if you're taking an offensive lineman at pick 10, they're not starting week 1. You need an impact player day 1, and I would be perfectly fine with David Bakhtiari and then re-signing a Connor McGovern for depth. If it's truly an all-in year, I want an impact player in round 1. And like Dan also said, I know I'm complimenting the hell out of the guy, which is out of character for me, but
Thank you, sir.
you could definitely trade back with
The
the
voodoo is
Vikings,
working.
the Raiders, or the Broncos at 11, 12, or 13, all QB needy,
Yes, sir.
and still get Brock Bowers.
Yep. What about Neighbors, man? I really like Malik Neighbors, what he brings there. Do you think he slips out of the top 7, top 8?
Probably
Depends on what the
not.
Giants do, I think.
I think the Giants are going to stick with they're going to shock the draft. They're going to take McCarthy because I think Daniel Jones is a terrible quarterback. I think they're not sold on him, and I think if you take any quarterback as the Giants, you immediately extend your time with the team if you're Dayball and
Right.
whoever the hell the GM is there. I can't even Shane from Buffalo.
If he slips, if they take a quarterback, the Neighbors drops. How far down, I don't know, but it was presumed that the Giants would take a wide receiver and keep Jones, but it's looking more to me. It looks more that they're going to try to get a quarterback.
I think they should too.
Yeah, the only thing that can alter that is if the Chargers try to trade up to 4, and then
You
that
see any
starts
situation
to
that
change the situation.
you see any situation that Adunze's there 10?
Which one would you want?
I think if the Jets,
you grab Neighbors or Dunze, who we want?
I think if the Jets want
Really?
Dunze, you have to trade up with Atlanta and move up to 8 because I think the Bears will absolutely take him so he can start a career with a career path with Caleb. Yeah.
You guys want a Dunze more than Neighbors?
I don't. No way.
I think
Give me
Neighbors.
Neighbors any day. Any day. It's like a Garrett Wilson clone.
Yeah,
Speed,
exactly.
shifty, gets off the break. He has separation. To me, it's Marvin Harrison, Neighbors, and then Odunze.
Yeah.
And
I
then
agree with Vinny. It's got to be a weapon. Whether it's Bowers, but it's someone who can start day 1. So basically, it is Bowers, Odunze, or Neighbors at that point. After that,
Why are you
you're taking points.
anti-offensive line, Vinny? At 10.
Like I said, it's just would I be upset if they took an offensive lineman? No, I think the pick is going to be an offensive player no matter what. But again, they're not going to play week 1. It's just not going to. The only position on the line week 1 that I think would be up for grabs if you brought in legitimate competition will be Simpson at left guard. And that's not to say that Simpson stinks, but I think for a first-class organization like the Baltimore Ravens, just to cut ties with him at 26, that says a lot right there. You know what I mean? Why did they just cut ties with him just like that? And we were to get him on the cheap. So, I mean, if they drafted a guy like Fatanu who could play guard and tackle, then I want Fatanu to play immediately. I don't want to even hear about Simpson. I keep him as a depth piece, obviously. But, again, whoever you take round 1, I want them to be an impact player. I don't want them on the bench. How infuriated was everybody in this room week 1 when we played the Bills that not just our first round pick was sitting on the bench, but Tippmann was sitting on the bench too. I mean, give me a break.
Yep.
That game infuriated me for multiple reasons. So, but yeah, that was definitely some of them. And it's just, I mean, going back to the week 1 against Baltimore a few years ago, Garrett Wilson, he really didn't play either. He had like a couple snaps in the third, fourth quarter. That was it. So it seems like there's a real situation where they don't play their rookies week 1 for some reason. I mean, that can change if we do draft a wide receiver. That's definitely changing, but I don't know, man. Like I don't know if that's like one of those weird Saleh things where outside of quarterback you don't really play.
Look at the final 4 teams in last year's conference championship games. All 4 of those teams had elite tight ends. All 4 of them.
Well, look, if you look at the Jets right now, right, where they're positioned at 10, whatever scenario you throw out there, it's a positive. Whether they move up, they get, let's say, a Joe Alt, a Neighbors, or whatever the case is, they move back, they get Brock Bowers or Fatanu. They stay at 10 or whatnot. Now, this is a question for Jeremy. Do you see in this Jet world that we live in, that we're already used to, all the scenarios that I threw out there, that it's all positive, do you see us messing this damn thing up?
I think it would be really hard to mess this up.
Unless your owner's Woody Johnson.
Right.
I'm not joking.
Yeah, no, I mean, as long as
I'm not sure because he sees a guy and he thinks he's going to bring fans to the stadium. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's the pick then. Yep.
It's really hard for. I don't know how much I buy it. I mean, as long as JD has the freedom, I can't control those intangibles of that
Exactly.
secretly behind closed doors. It's Woody Johnson running the team, but if it's JD choosing and it's the scouting system, so the scouting room with all the scouts that we pay lots of money to. If all those guys are getting together, it's hard to mess it up. Only in the sense that there's going to be a lot of quality at 10. If you take Bowers, that's not a mess up. There's no way I could see anybody saying you messed up.
And then you get ring, Woody Johnson. Yes. And then he's got some schmuck on the other side telling him, oh, you should grab this guy. He's going to make your team 100 times better. And
you really need Dallas Turner.
Well, if it's, I mean, that's the mess up.
It's going to happen.
If they pick a defensive player, they messed up. And there's no way, nothing is going to make me change my mind on that.
Listen, you got 2 years, hopefully, with this quarterback. Offensive lineman is not catching the ball. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now,
That's what you want someone who can catch the ball and is, like Vinny says, score points. Old lineman is not going to catch the ball.
Now I see a spot where, let's say if we go to 13, Bowers is there, Fuaga is there, and we wind up with J.C. Latham. That to me, that's as bad as getting a defensive player. To me, I would be blown away. I'm like, you have got to be fill in the blank. Me. There's no way. That's complete nonsense with Bowers and players that are playmakers or better than J.C. Latham. I'm okay with Latham maybe like if we trade back to 15, 17, whatever the case is, that's fine. But that to me is a huge mess up. And only time will tell if that would work out.
Yeah. I just want to say real
Alabama
quickly, 56
exactly
people watching.
They don't have the best track record of developing pro level offensive linemen in this league. I'll throw out a quick name everyone knows: Evan Neal.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
I was just saying we have 57 people in the chat. If you're not watching on YouTube, please head over. We definitely appreciate you watching. I mean, the fact that you're even watching's nice of you, but YouTube seems to help us the most. So I just wanted to remind everybody real quick.
Hey guys, I'm gonna hop off in just a second. If I could just throw out 2 quick hot takes before I bounce out because I'm about to crash. Yeah. But my first hot take, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I was reading up on just like draft history. I think this will be the first draft in modern NFL history. The first 10 selections are going to be all offensive players, which has never happened before, believe it or not. And lastly, or go ahead.
I was going to say, you don't think Atlanta's taking Dallas Turner?
I think they're going to trade out.
Okay, fair enough.
I think they'll trade out. Somebody's going to trade out. And the most likely team is going to be Atlanta because I think they can move back and they're still going to get them.
Yeah, I agree.
And last thing, and Liam, you're actually wearing the shirt. I think
Yeah.
the Rangers are going to sweep the Washington Capitals easily. And that was an
Sure.
awesome performance today. Let's go, Rangers. Thanks,
Vinny,
guys.
hold on. Wait, Vinny, before you
Yeah.
go, are you doing the draft show at 8:00 on your channel?
No, Raven said she's going to do something with Randy from One Jets Pod because
Okay.
I'm going to be watching it live, but U Stadium is going to be doing something. I don't know if it's on Twitter Space or on YouTube, but I'll probably be in there.
Okay, sounds like a deal, man. Definitely. Excellent, man. We'll see you then. All right, man.
Thanks
Have
for
a good
coming
night,
on, Vinny.
guys.
Later, brother.
Yeah, Vinny.
Very cool. And we have another guest coming on. This is my dude right here. For Red, what's going on? Look at you, dude.
Whoa.
You
What's
were
up, gentlemen?
You're ready to get selected.
Let's go, baby.
He's got the pick in his hand.
Let's go.
You got the pick. You're the pick. Yeah, dude. I would
I
love
got my Yangling.
The Jets, take
Yeah.
Infrared Jets at number 10.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh man, we got a hater in the house. Oh, come on, Armand.
Armand's here.
Where your Penguins at?
Oh
What?
man.
So you excited for this
Yeah,
week?
there's
or
a
what, man?
hater in there.
Good,
How you gentlemen doing today?
Excited.
you.
Very good.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. I just think we need to get along. We got to get along. Of course, I want a lineman. But I wouldn't be mad at the fact if we trade up, for a MHJ or a Dunze or anything like that. So I just hope we hit. Let's
We
hit,
have
man.
to. We have to. We
Yeah,
have to.
let's
It's
hit.
an all year. And again, what Afram was saying before, we don't know if we have 2 years with A-Rod. I don't think so. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy.
Yeah.
What do you think, with your heart of hearts, Aaron Rodgers is coming back for 2025? I'm going to raise my hand. I'm going to say no. He is not coming back next year. This is it. Because everything that he went through last year with that
He's gonna
Achilles,
stay.
I don't
He's gonna
think
be
so.
here. He's gonna be here.
The work that he had to go through last year.
He's gonna stay here, but he wants to. He really loves it over here. He loves it over here, man. He loves it out here.
Well, we'll see, man. We will see. I mean, Jeremy, what are your takes on that?
I think it depends on how the year goes. I think if we go on a deep playoff run and come close and we look great and the players play great and we look like a great team, I think he might say, let's take another crack at it. I think he really wants a Super Bowl ring. If it falls to shit and we go 10-7 and lose in the first round or shit goes wrong,
Yeah,
offensive
but
line,
A-Rod.
whatever it is,
Yeah, but that's the thing, Chaos. The thing is that he loves football.
He also loves
He
ayahuasca,
loves. No,
politics.
but he loves
golf.
football, man.
I don't
He
think he'd like to go
breathes-
out like that either,
He
Jerry.
breathes. He eats
Yeah.
cereal football. He loves football, man.
well, he might demand to go
He's not gonna
somewhere
give up.
else. That's what I'm saying.
I don't
I'm
see
just-
that
I'm
happening.
just saying if they do something stupid, if Woody does something stupid, if they fall apart, I mean that's the only thing that would threaten another season. I think if they have the season I believe they're going to have, because I honestly believe we're winning 12 to 13 games. I believe that. I believe 12-5 is very realistic. I believe we're going to go deep and contend, and I think for
Yeah.
that reason, that's why I believe he's coming back. Because
If
I think he's created a 2-year window. I think he was kind of
Yeah.
blatant and very blunt the way he talked about it.
I agree with you. If he finally realizes that Woody Johnson's a moron and does something, and he sees that nothing's going to change because of this guy, there's no reason to stay. And if we win the Super Bowl this year, God willing, then he ain't coming back next year. He did what he did.
And none of us, and I don't care. If we
I
win
don't
the Super Bowl, I don't give a shit.
No, and I think he
I
leaves.
agree.
He leaves on that note. Two rings. He took it. He took this team. The only thing that would keep him there is if he wants to continue to play. He would leave on the highest note possible.
Getting this team to win a Super Bowl is pretty much like 2 rings at once.
Wow.
You know, it is.
That's a cool point. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have 2 Super Bowl rings, but like you got the Jets, the who? The same old Jets to the Super
He'd be a legend. He'd be a
Yeah.
legend in New York for
Yeah.
one season.
Oh, yeah,
that one
definitely.
season.
He would be Mark Messier 2.0.
Yep.
Like I remember in '94 when the Rangers won, what Messier brought from the Oilers. Like again, we're talking about the Edmonton Oilers. won how many cups again with Gretzky and just that entire staff, players, Hall of Famers. You bring Aaron Rodgers here, wins a Super Bowl, and I've said it before, he completely trumps over Brady and Peyton Manning on moving to other teams and winning the Super Bowl for their respective teams. Now, to me, Aaron Rodgers, if he wins a Super Bowl this year, he's going to want this one more time.
I got a question. I have a question, guys. When Tom Brady won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, he stayed 2 more years, right?
One more year.
Oh,
He stayed for 1 more year, and he
Okay,
would have
I
won
think
that Super
A-Rod-
Bowl.
I think A-Rod is going to do the same thing.
2 years.
2
Yeah,
years.
I thought it was 2 years. Yeah.
And he
Yeah, because they came close. They made the playoffs the following year, and then
He loves football, guys.
He does.
now, Jeremy, I want to ask you this: what do you think is the biggest reason, and not to this is a negative question, but not to be negative, what is the biggest reason that this season could potentially go off the rails?
Injuries.
Injuries.
Do you trust the coaching staff to screw this up? Do you
No,
think
I
that's
think-
Saleh?
I think that before the offensive line went down, even with Zach Wilson in there, he was finding a way to keep us competitive. He found a way to beat the Eagles. I know this is going to might be a very unpopular opinion. I'm not in love with the guy. I'm not saying he's a great coach, but I think that Saleh takes much more of a beating than he deserves because I think he has not had a quarterback yet. And I think it's really hard to win with no offense whatsoever. When you have no offensive line, no competent quarterback play, it's hard to judge him because whenever
No offensive coordinator.
right, and when anytime that we've had the offense play at all, like
Yeah.
against Houston, anytime we've
Offensive
showed up
coordinator.
as an offense, we're a great team. So I think yes, he's defensive minded. That's his specialty, and he did exactly what he's supposed to do as a defensive minded head coach. He gave us one of the best defenses in the NFL. But he needs some help. He needs a good quarterback. I think a lot of great defensive coaches that are head coaches that have won championships have done it because they either have a great coordinator or a great quarterback or both. And I think that this is the first year that if he stays healthy, that Saleh's finally going to have that.
I feel the same way. And if you look at like the stars, seem like they're all aligning, right? We're getting stronger at every position. This draft, it seems like it's going to be a repeat of what Joe Douglas had, with Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, Sauce. It seems like that. Then you look at the rest of the division. The Bills do not look solid at all. They have been completely decimated this offseason. Then you look at the Patriots. Finally, we could look at the Patriots and say the Jets can finally sweep them. They can
They're
do
irrelevant.
it. Very. Yeah, exactly. And then you look at the Dolphins, who we always match up well in our history. No matter if it's Ken O'Brien or Browning Nagel, we always match up well with the Dolphins. So right then and there, I see how we can come out of this. We sweep the Pats. I'm going to say it. We're going to sweep the Bills. That's 4 games right there, and we split with Miami. That's 5 games right there. And the sky's the limit at that point.
Yeah.
Win the division. Win it.
You know what my dream is? I agree, Dan, the man. The thing with me is like I just want to hit on a quarterback this year in the 4th round. Get Rattler or whoever it is, because I've noticed since 2015 we have not thrown for 20 touchdowns. Yes, it's 2015 with Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
And I'm not counting Sam Darnold. I'm not counting his 19 touchdowns at all because if it's either 20 touchdowns and up or a bust or nothing, you know what I mean? So we have to get a quarterback, a backup QB to sit, as QB3 behind Tyrod. And we gotta fix. This is a big issue, man. Like I'm sick of this. Every fucking year is the same thing. We need a quarterback.
In the 4th round, I think that's a perfect spot. With Milton, he has a great arm, but I don't know if he has it between the ears. We don't know. To me,
but for 2 years sitting behind A-Rod and Tyrod, he could figure it out.
It's not 2 years. That's the thing. We have to know is he going to sit behind Roger for 2 years or not? Because to me, the one that is I don't want to say a home run, but it's Jordan Travis. If we're going to go based on potential, I would go with him. And just knowing that he was the teammate of Jermaine Johnson, he's going to take him under his wing, not to be a defensive end or anything, but like you see it, okay, look, this is my boy. This is from college, whatever the case is. And you have like a warm welcome. He gets to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for maybe a year. Because again, I keep saying it. I don't know about 2025, and nobody knows. Not even Aaron Rodgers. This is our window. And let's say if Rodgers goes into the sunset, there's no way that Woody Johnson is going to trot out Tyrod Taylor in 2025 and expecting any one of us five to be present at that stadium. Now, if it's someone like Jordan Travis, we're all there.
Yeah. But what about Rattler? Rattler,
I would like Rattler.
It's someone. We got to figure it out.
I don't think he's going to be there. Not in the fourth.
Jeremy, who's your top
Travis,
quarterback
Jordan
in
Travis,
this draft?
definitely. Yeah, him too.
You're saying 1 year behind Rodgers, he can start the next year.
I think
he'll be competent enough to start the next year.
If you're talking about,
there you go, Mr. Afram.
If you're talking about a mid-round to late round quarterback, I would say Travis is number one for me.
Yep, same here.
But that's what I'm saying. So you're saying if he sits 1 year behind Rodgers, that in 2025 he should be able to start.
Absolutely.
If Rodgers is not there,
we hope.
I would think so.
I wonder if they go with Tyrod as a bridge quarterback.
No, you can't do that.
We got to figure it out, guys. We got to figure it out.
We have too good of a roster, I think, to have when Aaron leaves, there has to be some quarterback that gives us hope. That has to be some reasonable hope, because we're still going to have a lot of this nucleus of this team. There's a lot of great players, and I don't think you can afford to throw a year away.
Right.
We have to get a quarterback in place as soon as possible.
Because I think innately it's going to blow up. There's no way that we have the funds to sign all of these great players. There's no way. There's no way. Can't.
You're right, man.
You can't sign Brees, Sauce, Jermaine, Garrett. We have nothing. That's why, to me, this window is so imperative right now. And it's winning the division. It's hosting two home games here. I'm looking at the 1 seed. I'm going for the gusto here. And I get it. It might seem like I'm wearing green colored glasses. I don't think I'm not. The division, if you look at it, it seems like kind of like the division what Brady had like for 20 years in the AFC East. Weak. It's a weak division. It's going to be played out between the Dolphins and the Jets. We win this division, I think we'll be probably 13-4 or 14-3.
I love it.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So, Infrared Jets, you were the co-host, the special guest co-host the other night. I'm gonna throw you back in charge. I got to get up in a couple hours for work, so I'm gonna get ready to head out. But Jeremy, thank you for being our guest tonight, man. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely want to do this again.
Anytime.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys stay on as late as you want. I really, whatever.
Yeah, I got another 10 more minutes, and then I gotta hit the sack. But you know what? I'm gonna throw out the link out there and see if anybody else wants to join up. But Liam, man, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you, Afram, Infrared Jets, Dan, Jeremy. Thank you guys so much.
It's only 7:45 for you, Jeremy.
Rangers, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Have a good one, guys.
8 o'clock for you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Right?
Huh?
It's not even 8 o'clock for you.
No, I'm here. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in North
Carolina.
Well, I mean, look, we're exhausting this to the max because I mean this is big right now. This week is going to be immense. Every single day leading up to Thursday, we're going to be talking about draft. We're going to, trade scenarios, how we might even wind up with a second rounder. I think if we trade back and we get a legitimate starter, and we still get a second round pick, it's a complete home run right there.
Yeah. I honestly believe no matter what happens, I believe we're going to feel like we're a better team on Friday morning.
I think so as well. I absolutely think so.
I could agree with that. Yeah.
All right.
As long as we hit on offense, yeah, we got to hit on the offense.
Have to hit.
big time.
You have to hit. We can't miss.
Yeah, we
That's
can't
the
miss
thing.
at all.
That's what everybody's so fighting so hard and worried about position and this and that. The number one thing to worry about is we cannot miss. We cannot turn number 10
50 crapshoot.
Yeah, I mean number 10 that's the biggest fear. If whoever we pick is a bust, that's brutal.
Afram, will you hear where Jeremy had said he would give up a first rounder next year for Marvin Harrison?
For Marvin Harrison Jr.
Would you do it, Afram? That's a hot take for me.
That's you're rolling the
That's
dice. He seems to be a instant talent on the start day one and produce. But I mean that's that's why he's being picked so high. So yeah, you would have to, because next year if he's giving you that, you're picking low anyway in the first round.
That's the
next
idea.
year. All right,
Yeah.
you'd be picking the 30s. Hopefully.
Now, my question is, would we have to give up our 4th round pick along with the 1st round next year?
I didn't
That's
see
fine.
that.
No, you would have to. It would be you're trading that. It's the value. It's the value.
That's already a very.
And I'd be
hefty-
satisfied with that. As long as we could keep our 4th and get a quarterback, I'm Gucci with that.
I mean,
It's a
well,
no-brainer.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Listen, boys, I gotta get going. I gotta do some rehab before my big surgery in 2 weeks. But listen, guys, thank you so much for hopping on, Jeremy. I mean, Eric, Afram, thank you so much, and we'll definitely be on. I believe on Tuesday night. We're gonna have 2 shows Tuesday night, so it should be fun. And then the rest of the week as well. Saturday we're gonna have Craig Kilborn around 3 p.m., 12 o'clock West time. So it should be fun. But guys, thank you so much again for coming on.
And RC,
Likewise.
good.
Take care, guys.
Take care, man.
Have a good night.
Take
Take
care,
care, gentlemen.